This is the United Uprising channel. Welcome to today's show. I was working on a couple of other videos, and as happens pretty often, this does happen. On the website, Teresa, who posts really great stuff, everybody on the website shares a lot of great stuff, and if something catches my eye immediately, I'll stop what I'm doing and I'll cover that topic. And in this case, Teresa posted a post about the My Pillow guy. And I immediately watched this video clip that she posted from somebody named The Critical Thinker on Twitter. And it got my mind just going, and I wanted to cover this topic. And of course, yesterday, if you didn't see, I covered Taylor Swift and Zena LaVey and the connection between them being related. Well, here is a similar type of video, only a lot of people automatically dismiss these types of notions of somebody else taking on a new identity. And really, why is that so far-fetched for people to actually think? I don't understand why people think it's far-fetched. These are government agents, okay? So the theory here with the My Pillow guy that Teresa shared, and thanks to Teresa again for sharing it, is something for you to just start thinking about and realizing, because this relates also to the guy who has that island who goes by the name Jeffrey, okay? These people who are agents for them do not get whacked. Pablo Escobar is the comparison being made here. When I show you these clips, your mind might be blown if you know who Pablo Escobar is. Now, Pablo Escobar is most notorious for being, this kingpin drug dealer, which, as you'll hear in the clip I'm about to play for you for the critical thinker, this guy who's critically thinking, before I even watch this video, my brain is already thinking and saying the same things pretty much that this guy is saying. There's no such thing as these boogeymen people that they portray to us as being drug smugglers and kingpins. They're all agents of our government. They're all working for the CIA. The CIA's job is to smuggle drugs, okay? The CIA smuggles drugs, and it does another thing with smuggling, but it's not drugs they're smuggling, it's youngsters that they're smuggling. So take a look at this clip that this guy posted on Twitter, The Critical Thinker, and look at just some of the comparisons. I mean, the side-by-side shots. We're supposed to be the Pablo Escobar, had this mysterious, he's hiding for a while, then was killed off. He just took on a new identity. And I believe that these two look awfully similar to one another.
So I see this matchup on an account, Biff Don, and on the face of it, obviously, it seems like it could be a bit of a joke, but actually you find that these ones that are considered jokes are actually pretty good. So here we have My Pillow guy, Mike Lindell, who I don't actually know. I think he's a famous businessman in America, stroke politician, stroke conspiracy theorist. And we got him matching up here with the legendary narco-terrorist Pablo Escobar. Now, obviously, people are going to laugh at this and say, hang on a minute, this is utter bollocks. But the thing is, with actor-based reality, a lot of these people that you see on the world stage, they fake their deaths and then they come back and play other characters years later, sometimes politicians, sometimes celebrities, what have you. But here we have My Pillow guy and Pablo Escobar. And when you actually look into stuff like this, they always put these little links in there. They always put these little clues. For example, Pablo Escobar, obviously, what's he famous for? He's a crack cocaine dealer. Massive, probably the most famous coke dealer in history. And when I was looking into Mike Lindell, actually said that he had a massive crack cocaine problem back in the 80s and 90s. So you've got a link there. And who do you think brings all the drugs into these countries? It's not these individual dealers or drug mules. No, it's the government. The government control the airport security. They're the ones that bring the large shipments in. And it's always been that way, They'll catch a little shipment, say $10 million worth of drugs, but then they've turned a blind eye to the $1.2 billion worth of drugs that have come in through the back door. That's how these things work. So, yeah, I mean, this is an interesting one for sure. So obviously I know these videos are highly trigger-inducing for people, and you might be urged to, put a disparaging comment in the comment sections, but just save your time. I've heard it all before.
So another thing to think of, you might look and you might say, oh, they look awfully similar, but I don't understand why they would do something like that. Well, number one, they have a sick sense of humor. Number two, when you're an agent like Pablo Escobar was for the United States government, why would they ever kill a loyal agent? if the agent is doing everything he's supposed to do, why would they ever kill him? Now, this, of course, is to draw attention away from the CIA's involvement in drug cartelling and drug smuggling. If people realized their own government agencies were the ones who were the big drug kingpins, they would disband the government agencies. The people would uprise, no pun intended, against these government agencies. The facial connections between these two they're almost uncanny how much they look like. Their ages line up with each other. And like mentioned in that clip, if you look at Mike Lindell, because nobody even knows the background on Mike Lindell. Mike Lindell makes My Pillow, which, by the way, it's almost like they're laughing at us. I'm not joking. I joke about all these celebrities, etc., and I make fun of a lot of things they do. The My Pillow is the most uncomfortable pillow you could. Has anyone ever tested the My Pillow? I forget what the whole breakdown is on the My Pillow, but I think like you have to put it in the washing machine or something before you even use it. I've laid on a My Pillow before. I've known somebody had it is the most uncomfortable thing I've ever laid on. There's no way that this is this big time industry of pillow selling. It's literally like inside of the pillow is the type of styrofoam you would find in a package that's delivered to your door. So what does that tell us? It tells us that it's just a front, right? And the My Pillow guy is the face of what? The MAGA movement. Right? For no reason. Nobody's like, what is this guy? What is his, connection here? He's at the White House, the guy who makes My Pillow, speaking with Donald Trump. He's rolled out on Jimmy Kimmel and openly allows them to mock him and make fun of him. And of course, what does he portray? He portrays this huge Christian. That's what he does. He portrays this huge Christian conservative who's trying to stand for truth. He was the face of the election fraud scandal, whatever you want to call it, the CIA PSYOPs event that occurred, right? And everybody out there just takes it for, they're like, oh, here's the My Pillow guy at a Trump rally. Here's the My Pillow guy, right? And you look at his background, you're like, let me just see what the background is on the My Pillow guy. Where did he come from, right? His background is pretty like, make-believe. It's pretty like bland. It's not much into it. And of course, it mentions that he was addicted to cocaine. And what is Pablo Escobar known for? He's known for normalizing cocaine in the United States of America and being the kingpin for cocaine in the United States of America, right? So you have a connection there why would they say that with Mike Lindell? Because they rub it in your faces. They have a sick sense of humor, and they know that nobody's going to question this, and they know they could automatically dismiss something like this and say, this guy's crazy. Why would we take Pablo Escobar? Because it sounds insane. I get that, but we can't think the way they want us to think and then dismiss these things, because this is what they do. Just like the guy with the island I mentioned, Jeffrey. You think that he actually got whacked? Why would they whack Pablo Escobar? And why would they whack Jeffrey? They're like, we're going to whack Jeffrey because he has too much information and now he's going to flip on all of these people. Oh, yeah? And all we've heard about over the last couple of years is just a never-ending rabbit hole with no end in sight for something to be resolved. And they're like, they won't investigate it. And they want you to keep looking and finding all this information out and go, yeah, nothing's going to be done about it. And they wouldn't whack one of their own. He was never going to flip on any of these people. They sent him elsewhere, and he's either, in the land of bagels right now, fully protected, because that's where they usually go, over to the Aviv Tel, right? I said it backwards, because you can't even say words of the algorithm, understanding what you're saying and then flagging you, but that's where he is. That's where they go, or they take on new identities, right? The mysterious death around Pablo Escobar, which is pretty funny because you talk about all the internet censorship, etc. Even on Pablo Escobar, look for yourself. On his Wikipedia, there's this bizarre fake picture of somebody laying in rubble, dead, covered in blood, that apparently you could post on Wikipedia, and they're all laying around him, smiling and laughing. It's like they put it there as a big joke. How would this even be released? The stuff that the government releases to us, which is pretty much nothing. We have no real information on any actual events. They released this, right? They're like, Pablo Escobar's been in hiding for a long period of time. Then all of a sudden, the U.S. government finds Pablo Escobar the day after his birthday at an apartment building, and then a shootout ensues, and then he's dead, right? How convenient, right? And then, of course, the My Pillow guy emerges 10 years later as a face of Christianity. Not really a face of Christianity, but he plays the role of what they want the conservative to look like, conspiracy theorist, right? He looks like a doofus. He's always doing ridiculous, crazy, over-the-top things. Kind of ties in with, like, the narrative Alex Jones plays or the role that Alex Jones plays in all this stuff, where you look at the guy and then he's going on Jimmy Kimmel and sitting inside of a, one of those things you pick what do you pick out of those things? I don't even remember what they're called, but the thing at the store where you put in a coin and then you try to grab a doll and everybody keeps trying it because the thing's rigged. They don't realize it and they're trying to just grab a handful of candy or a watch or something, depending on where you find it. So he sits in there like a fool and plays the role of a fool. But there's also connections too. People out there are like, well, how do you know, Pablo Escobar is connected to the CIA? First of all, there's no such thing as any of these people doing these things without the government helping. Okay? What do you think he was getting around he was just really good at it. He was just so good at getting around the government for all those years. Now, Barry Seal was a man who worked for both the CIA and Pablo Escobar. So this is the guy that they made a Tom Cruise movie after. Of course they did, because all these movies are to glorify these people. And usually they're Masonic government agents. So they glorify the guy who was a pilot for Pablo Escobar, dealing drugs at an unbelievable pace. That's what the story is, right? Somehow, how do you become the pilot for Pablo Escobar? They give you some bogus backstory. Become the pilot for Pablo Escobar, being completely protected by the government. Then, of course, conveniently, when Pablo Escobar, all this stuff happens to Pablo Escobar, catching Pablo Escobar, this guy, he gets arrested and then flips and turns into a government agent to help the government out, right? Never does jail time. And then, of course, is glorified in our media as somebody who blew the lid open on the drug trade, right? Our government is behind all of the trade. The CIA has always been behind it. Everything the CIA does is a front. They launder, okay, and they traffic. And it's not just drugs that they traffic. And everybody knows what that word stands for and what I'm referencing here. So look at the uncanny pictures of these two. And some people look at this stuff and they're like, the ages almost line up with these two guys. You got Lindell is currently 62, born in 1961. And then Pablo Escobar, they claim, is born in 1949. So you're looking at a 13-year difference. So, I mean, it's in the realm of possibility. Of course, the age of Mike Lindell can clearly be made up. He looks actually older than what they claim that he actually is. Does he not? Now, even though you got prosthetics, you got facial surgeries that are done, they still look eerily similar to one another, almost like they want you to be able to recognize that Pablo Escobar is the My Pillow guy. Now, looking at some of the photos, you might say, I don't know. But Pablo Escobar obviously already has ties to the CIA and the government. And everything that's going on with Donald Trump is nothing more than a giant CIA op. That's all that this is. It's a huge operation that's run by the intel agencies in every single country. So they use their agents. They move their agents around. They give them new roles and jobs. They don't kill their agents. Just like, Jeffrey. They vanish mysteriously and you get this mysterious story. Then you're like, how does that happen in a high security prison? Oh, the cameras were conveniently off. And everyone's like, it sounds like an inside job. Because he was never there in the first place. Never really arrested him. It was a fake trial to make it seem as if, the big thing was going to get exposed. And everybody just keeps going down this rabbit hole with the letter Q, thinking that they're solving something and they're getting something. Trump's finally going to, it's an operation. These people just resume their lives with new identities. And they love putting them out there in the public for us to see. It's the same thing I covered with Taylor Swift. Now, conveniently, this famous, and there's a lot of connections to even Aleister Crowley and obviously Barbara Bush, which I've covered years ago, right? The relation to them and how all these prominent people have connections directly to these famous, notorious Satanists like LaVey, like Crowley, etc., right? It's not coincidental. So when Teresa posted this, I immediately was like, let me look at this. And I was laughing because I was like, the comparison, it is borderline uncanny between the two. They look eerily similar to each other. All you need is a few prosthetics or a few, and it doesn't even look like they did much work on Lindell. And their ages line up with each other, right? And then nobody asked the question of how this guy who makes pillows, it's almost like it's a joke on everybody out there. This guy who makes pillows, does anyone else know famous people who make mattresses or pillows? We know some of the brand names. This guy makes the My Pillows, blows up as an infomercial. It's ridiculous. The whole thing is the pillow itself is a nightmare. It's not comfortable. And then he becomes the face of conspiracies and MAGA. It's all done by the side. It's all right in front of us for us to see. You can decide for yourself. But if you're someone who's new to all this stuff and you're like, I'm just learning about conspiracy, agents are in place all over. And these people take on multiple roles. They would never kill their own for this reason. Now, they'll kill their own for sacrificial reasons. But Escobar wasn't doing anything more than he was told and asked to do. And when people were getting on the trail I'm trying to figure out how, how all this drug trade was being allowed to happen and how the government was missing, the arrests on these people. Somebody had to be the boogeyman and the scapegoat for it because drugs were becoming so prominent in the 70s. I mean, we're talking going from LSD to cocaine, that whole Scarface, Johnny Depp, Blow, those types of movies with it. And then they glorify that stuff and they want you to look at these types of characters, like the character that Al Pacino portrays in Scarface, right? They want you to look at these, Montana. They want you to look at these characters and think that there's guys out there like Johnny Depp and Blow who are doing all this stuff on their own independently. Like, oh yeah, and I just decided to trade drugs to become a trillionaire. Oh yeah, sure. And planes are flying in and out without any problem. I mean, give me a break, right? So what happens is when they get on the, people start getting on the trail and start going, what is going on? Right? There's obviously going to be connections to Escobar and the CIA, so they don't want you to find out about that. Once people start blowing the lid off some of this stuff, and then they go, okay, we'll just fake whack him, and that'll be the end of the story. We'll put out movies on him. Everyone will believe the propaganda, and somebody else could resume the identity as the guy doing all the trade, etc. And in reality, it's just happening right under our noses, being allowed to happen. They let this come in and out of our country. I've covered all the things with, even Ted Gunderson talking about a lot of the smuggling of drugs through dead bodies, dead soldiers' bodies from different countries, and of course, this connection to Satanism in the government, direct connections to Michael Aquino. So these are all things I've covered in the past. And again, this is stuff on the website, uprisingrevival.com. You could check out. If you want more detail, you could share stuff like Teresa shared here on the website. It's $2.99 a month for people who are saying you're signing up, you're not getting videos. The free videos is so that you get email notifications of where I upload, because everybody has trouble finding my content, getting my content, and getting notified of when I upload. So I use that email blast as a way for you to get emails so you know when I upload on YouTube, or even if it's on another platform that's free. The website is a pay site. It's troll free. Okay, it gives for $2.99 a month to get unlimited, uncensored content. I'm doing a deep upload right now. I call it a bomb upload of dozens of videos. Well, I have thousands of videos. Some may say thousands, but I'm trying to do dozens at a time here every day. Starting right now of videos that I've uploaded in the past where your mind will be blown. It's stuff where you used to be able to talk about on YouTube, you can't talk about here. Obviously, a deep dive into stuff relating to that food, pizza, so many other things that I'm just going through it right now as that's what I was doing this morning, trying to get some of these up over there. So definitely check out the website. And the reason you pay, of course, for the website, for people that ask, is one, it keeps trolls out. Two, it gives me unlimited bandwidth. I have to pay to run the website to put up millions of hours of content. So that's what the website, the reason there's a paywall on there. And obviously, if there wasn't a paywall, for those of you that are like, nobody would troll over oh, yeah, they would. I have a large group of stalkers who follow me around, and that's fine. They'll have to pay the $2.99, and then I'll throw them off the site, and then they'll have to, try to get a refund. They'll have to spend hours on the phone with their credit card company. So that's the reason for it. It's worth the $2.99. Thanks to Teresa and everybody over there who shares content. You can share stuff with me over there. If you're trying to get me to cover certain topics, that's one of the ways you can bring it to my attention. It's impossible to share stuff here on YouTube. It goes into the spam box if you leave links, as everybody knows. So let me know what you think about this comparison. I thought it was very, very interesting, because you have to just think for 5 seconds about what is with this. Why am I constantly, because you probably haven't even thought much about it, but we all keep seeing this My Pillow guy. And always like, just because he's a MAGA supporter? He's at the White House just because he makes pillows and he supports the president. These are all agents. And their job as agents in place is to herd people, right? So they're the faces of conspiracy. They're the faces of truth. They're the ones leading people in different directions away from truth. And that's clearly what this guy does. And nobody questions how this guy is even getting this type of attention. Of course he's getting the attention. The government's letting him have this attention. Otherwise, they would just silence him, shut his business down, and throw him in jail, or they would say, they would put out all types of things to discredit him and remove him from Earth. And you might say, well, they do that with him. No, they don't. The stuff with Tucker Carlson, Russell Brand, the My Pillow guy, that's not real censorship. Okay, and I'm not saying that to toot my own horn, but we all know what real censorship is. When people literally are searching for you every day and you have to rebrand yourself, and they'll never find you because you have to rebrand yourself. Because if you use your real name, they'll make sure you're shut down immediately. Okay, that's real censorship. These people are making millions of dollars on different platforms, pretending to be censored so that they could lure you in for whatever is coming as far as how they herd you. So anyway, I wanted to cover this topic. Hope you're all doing well. Hope to see you on the website, uprisingrevival.com. God bless all of you as always and your families.